afternoon. Today we're going to dive into a critical aspect of practice in the ER. That's caring for adult patients with the risk of suicide. It's not just about what we do that matters, it's about how we do it, and hopefully it's with compassion, knowledge, and advocacy. So, you're in the ER. You're going to see everything from I've stubbed my toe to I cannot sleep to I have something in me that I can't get out. Then there's the other stuff, the sepsis, the respiratory distress, the cardiac issues. Then there's this other important category. It's very common in emergency departments across the United States, psychiatric, and it brings a whole different level of challenge. I have worked in emergency services for the last almost 2 decades. Psychiatric calls were in the top 5 lists of the most common calls. Some of the most challenging patients I've ever had were psychiatric patients. Suicide rates increased approximately 36% between the years of 2000 and 2021. Suicide was responsible for 48,183 deaths in 2021, which is about 1 death every 11 minutes. Here's something even more concerning. Of those deaths in 2021, the individuals had an average of 3 hospitalizations for self-harm and 8 ER visits related to suicide in their medical history. So, what tools do we have in our toolbox to help us identify these individuals that clearly need our help? Evidence-based tools are very important, and some of these tools aren't just checkboxes, but they're actual lifelines. The Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale is a comprehensive tool designed to assess a variety of suicidal ideations and behaviors. It includes a series of questions that systematically probe for the presence, frequency, and intensity of suicidal thoughts, as well as any preparatory behaviors or actual suicide attempts. This structured approach helps clinicians determine the level of risk and the appropriate interventions needed to ensure patient safety. The Beck Depression Inventory is a widely used self-reported questionnaire that measures the severity of depressive symptoms and consists of 21 items that assess various aspects of depression, such as mood, pessimism, sense of failure, physical symptoms like fatigue and appetite changes. The BDI provides a quantitative score that helps clinicians gauge the severity of depressive symptoms, which are often closely linked to suicidal ideations and behavior. The Suicide Assessment 5-step evaluation and triage, which we'll just shorten to SAFETY, framework provides a structured approach for assessing and managing suicide risk. It begins with identifying risk factors such as psychiatric history, current stressors, access to lethal means. Protective factors such as supportive relationships or coping skills are also evaluated. The framework guides clinicians through suicide inquiry to assess the presence and severity of suicidal thoughts, plans, and intent. Based on the assessment, SAFETY helps determine the appropriate level of intervention, ranging from outpatient therapy to emergency hospitalization, ensuring consistent and thorough evaluations that prioritize patient safety and well-being. These scientific-based assessment tools guide us in making informed decisions, ultimately saving lives and providing the best possible care to our patients in their most vulnerable moments. Now let's shift to ethical and legal advocacy. Nurses play a big part in advocating for other adults for their adult patients at risk of suicide, ensuring ethical and legal considerations are upheld. Ethically, nurses should prioritize patient autonomy and confidentiality while maintaining a non-judgmental approach. They can advocate by actively listening and to the patient's concerns, conducting thorough suicide risk assessments, and involving interdisciplinary teams for comprehensive care planning. If a need can be identified that will improve the outcome for the patient, make it happen to the best of your availability. This may include advocating for the patient who feels they're being discharged prematurely. In busy health care systems, it's important to consider the condition of the patient to make sure that they will be safe on discharge. Legally, nurses should adhere to mandated reporting requirements for imminent risk situations, ensuring timely intervention and access to mental health care resources, not just in the hospital, but also after discharge. Collaboration with patients, families, mental health professionals is essential to develop safety plans tailored to each patient's needs, promoting recovery and reducing suicide risk ethically and within legal frameworks. When we advocate ethically, we can empower our patients to be our partners in their own care. Let's be honest, who's going to have a better outcome? A patient who's working with and has the rapport with their medical providers, or one who feels like they're on an opposing team? Next, I'd like to talk about advocating for social justice. Our role doesn't stop with just advocating ethically and legally. Advocating for social justice with this group means addressing things like stigma, ensuring access to resources, and supporting vulnerable populations. Mental health doesn't discriminate, and neither should our advocacy efforts. By fighting stigma and promoting equitable access to care, we can make a profound impact on our patients' lives beyond the walls of the ER. Stigma and fear of judgment are fundamental concerns when dealing with mental health issues. If we're going to increase social justice in this area, it's crucial that we identify and advocate for change in areas like mental health disparities, stigma, barriers to care, by examining and working to change things like poverty, discrimination, lack of access to health and mental health care services. This advocacy is going to empower individuals to seek help without fear of discrimination and promote understanding and empathy within communities. Effective advocacy involves education on social determinants of mental health, engaging with community organizations, and advocating for policy changes that prioritize mental health equity, amplifying the voices of marginalized communities. Advocates can foster a supportive environment that promotes recovery and well-being among those at risk for suicide. Finally, I'd like to touch on quality improvement. Every assessment, every intervention, we're not just checking boxes. We're paving the way to better care. Evidence-based tools, legal and ethical advocacy, social justice advocacy for patients with suicide risk collectively all contribute to quality improvement in healthcare by addressing both immediate needs and systemic issues. It's also important to remember the nursing process: assess, diagnose, plan, implement, and the key to improvement is the final step: evaluate. A critical component of evaluation is quality improvement. Identify insufficiency and work to foster an attitude and culture of refinement. This comprehensive approach not only enhances the quality of care provided to adult patients at risk of suicide, but it also fosters a healthcare system that prioritizes prevention, support, and holistic well-being, which ultimately will improve all healthcare outcomes for individuals and the community alike. In conclusion, my fellow ER people, as we navigate the complexities of caring for adult patients with suicide risk, let's remember the power that we hold. It's a power to change. It's a power to improve. Even ultimately, a power to save. Let's continue to advocate, innovate, and lead by example in providing compassionate care that our patients deserve. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to making a difference every single day in every person's life. May your caffeine be strong and your day be free of C. diff. Thank you.